Hello, and welcome to another lesson of the Content Modeling Weekly course. I am Marcelo Lewin, the Headless Creator. As always, get a hold of me right there, marcelo@headlesscreator.com. Send me an email with questions, comments, ideas. I'd love to hear from you. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a simple chatbot content model that you can use to help your customers find solutions. What I'm going to do is we're actually going to look at the Mint Mobile. They have a chatbot that's pretty cool. We're going to go to their site, just look at it, try to understand a little bit more. We'll create that model in Miro, as I always do, and then we'll push it into Contentful and run some GraphQL queries and check out the authoring experience. So that's the plan for today. As always, if you have questions, put them in the chat. I will answer them as I can. Like always, I do want to remind you to get your free account at headlesscreator.com. Go get the free account, and then you'll have access to this lesson on demand along with all the other lessons. This is lesson number 44. I'm looking at closing 50 lessons this year. So we got a lot of stuff in the Content Modeling Weekly, but then of course you'll have access to all the other lessons. You can see I have a lot of upcoming lessons here. A lot of courses you can take, including all the Focus On courses, the Discover Headless. We have podcasts also, many episodes coming up. So there's a lot of content here, and you'll have all of that for free. So just get your free account. If you don't have one yet, get your free account at headlesscreator.com, and then you'll have access to all of this. And that's it. So with that said, you know how this works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and restart. I'm going to restart the intro because the on-demand version will have absolutely no marketing whatsoever. And I will see you back in just 10 seconds. Well, hello, and welcome to another lesson of the Content Modeling Weekly course. I am Marcelo Lewin, the Headless Creator. As always, you can get a hold of me right there, marcelo@headlesscreator.com. Send me an email with questions, comments, whatever you like. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Today, I'm really excited. I'm going to show you, well, I'm always excited about content modeling. You know how I work, but today I'm especially excited about the content modeling because we're going to look at a chatbot. How do we recreate a chatbot? Now, this is a simple chatbot. I don't want you to think that you're going to come out of here with, like, we're going to have this AI-powered chatbot. No, this is not what we're doing today. But we're going to create a content model that allows you to create a simple chatbot that is driven by dialogue and some choices that the user can pick and get more dialogue. And what we're going to do, I was inspired by this by looking at the Mint Mobile website, and they have a chatbot in there. So let me go ahead and start now by showing the screen. We'll go ahead and do that, and we'll jump right in. And why don't we start by just looking at, I'm at the Mint Mobile site here, and they have a little chatbot there. So let's enable it, and it's asking you for some, your basic information, which I'm going to enter. And no, I'm not. And I'm going to start the chat. All that part is not in the chat. That's more of sort of an intro kind of thing that you can code all that. But here we are in the chat, and you can see that basically it's saying hello and my name. My name I put in here, John Sample in this case. But we have a host. There seems to be some sort of icon. Let's see if we have. Now, before I had an icon on Mint Fox, but now they don't show it. Anyway. We have a host name. It's saying hello in dynamic data. So we have to figure out a way to, in the dialogue that we want to put in the content model, we got to figure out a way to insert dynamic data that was entered by the user. But you can see we have some images, then we have a dialogue here, and then we can type in some information like join, or I can just click on one of these, what I call choices, right? We have 1, 2, 3, like what, 10, 8 choices here. For example, I can click on Join Mint, and then I get another dialog basically back. So it's showing me some graphic, and it's saying, hey, Mint Mobile gives you blah, 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 blah. And then I have more choices like switch to Mint. Now I can select that, or I can say switch plans. Let me see if that works. And then click on send. So now it took me to plans. So if we go back up here, well, the choices went away. But now it's saying, okay, what plan do you want? Do you want a 3-month, a 6-month? Anyway, you get the idea here. You have a chat that has dialogue. That dialogue then consists of the actual conversation along with some choices that the user can choose. Now, the user can choose the buttons, which are preset, or they can type in a name, which are kind of variations on these buttons, right? If I put in 3, let's see what happens. Okay, see, so it didn't understand this, but if I put in 3 months, let's see what happens with that. Okay, so it's kind of, it's not understanding me. I would have to click on this. So a lot of this chat, this is a simple chat, right? It's not really, it doesn't seem like it's AI powered. So a lot of it is about just dialogue driven with some choices, basically. So how do we recreate this? All right, let's jump in. Let's go into Miro. You know, that's my tool that I use for content modeling. We'll jump into here. And of course, you know, I've already worked on this model because I don't want to figure it all out here live and waste your time. But we're going to start with the first thing that it has is we have a chat. So let's put in, we have a chat. We know that. Let's make it bigger here so we can see better. Okay, so we have a chat. And then the chat has an internal name. So we can have multiple chats, right? You can say like a welcome chat or some other kind of chat that you initiate whenever you want to. But a chat we know has a host and we'll have conversation. We'll have some sort of conversation. So that's the minimum. We'll have a host, which in this case is MinFox, and then there's conversation that happens. Okay. So what's in the conversation? Well, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and bring in some stuff of things that I already did. I'm going to bring in these two because I already did that here. All right, so we're going to have some chat dialogue and a chat host. So the host has a name, a description, and an image. That's what I'm deciding that the host should have. So for this particular chat, I'm going to do a 1-to-1 to chat host. And what I'm saying is like, look, for this conversation, for this chat dialogue that we're about to have, this is going to be the host on our side. And then, of course, we have conversation. And what is conversation made out of? Well, conversation is made out of some dialogue and some choices. Basically, that's what it's made out of. So here we have chat dialogue. And we have a dialogue, and then we are able to provide content. And I'll explain why I'm calling it content instead of choices. I could call it choices and just limit it to just chat choices. But what if I want to, instead of giving a choice, which are these buttons, which they don't do here, but what if I want to say, hey, here's a document you may enjoy? Well, now I can attach a link to a document like an FAQ, and I'll show you how to do that. Or a link to an external site, for example. So the conversation is going to be one too many to chat dialogue. So the idea here is that we have a chat, the chat has a host, and then there's a conversation that's going to happen. That conversation is made up of some sort of dialogue that we supply, and then some content, and I say 0 to many because we may just have, the dialogue may say, the first entry may be, hey, welcome. The second entry may be, how can I help you? And have 3 choices. The third entry could be, well, here's a choice and here's a link to a document that may help you further. It depends, right? So with this basic thing right here, we're able to create that dialogue. So we enter the conversation, we enter an entry, a dialogue, which has content. Okay, so now we're going to need this choice here. So let's bring in chat choice. And the chat choice, remember, if we go back here, you have buttons, right? Now we're not modeling design. Remember, we never model design in a content model. We just model the content and the intent of that content. So in this case, we're going to have, let's put chat here. We'll put host here. We'll put dialogue here, and we'll put choice because choice goes here. So a choice will have a name, And what's the next dialogue? So what I mean by that is, and it'll be a pointer back to chat dialogue. Why is that? Well, look at this. Here we have a dialogue and then 4 choices. So you can see the entry would be here, dialogue, with 4 choices. But each choice will now have another dialogue that it's sent to, which would be back to this one with more choices. So for example, if I click on 4G, it's going to return a piece of dialogue. There you go. It returned this dialogue with a button to go back. Could be a choice to go back to the beginning, and a buy now. Now, I'm not going to have this buy now button. We can model that later, but the point is that it includes another dialogue, right? So if we go back here to the beginning here, we'll do 6 month. Let's see what it does. It's another piece of dialogue with more choices, okay? So this covers that because I can create the dialogue, give it choices. Each choice will have a potential new dialogue entry with even more choices, right? So you can build all of this hierarchy. Now, what does variation mean? Well, variation means that if I type in, let's hit refresh here. I'm gonna refresh the page so we can start from the beginning. Oh, let's end it. I think we can. There's no end chat. Oh, here. Yeah, let's just do that. I guess there's no end chat. But let's go back here. What does variation mean? Well, variation is I want to allow people to enter, not only pick this chat choice, but maybe type it in. And here are some variations that if they type in any of these variations, they can get to this chat choice, right? So if we go back here, we can have 4G, 4GB, LTE, 4G LTE, and we can have a variety of variations that if they type any of that, it'll be the same. If they type any of that here, it'll be the same as if they clicked this choice. That's the whole point. Now, all of this is going to make a lot more sense once we jump into Contentful and look at the link there, or look at how it works there. One thing I do want to show you here, though, is you can see, yeah, here we have 2 entries. We have, they say one thing and then they break it into a separate entry. They probably do that for readability purposes. Now, there's a couple of ways to handle that. We can handle that by obviously entering, if we go back here, multiple dialogues, or make it easy where in the RTF, we can add special code that says, hey, do a line break. And a line break will mean, even though the next sentence is still part of the dialogue, I want it to be broken like this. But how do we do that? Well, I propose that we do a chat tags. And this chat tags will have some sort of code ID related to it. And what does that mean? We can use it for a couple of things. We can have an entry called line break with a code ID that the developer knows that, okay, if the dialogue has a line break in between those 2 sentences, then we need to do this kind of thing on the chat. But we can also insert with the tags dynamic data. And I'll explain in just a minute, but here it says, hi, John Sample, which is the name I typed in, right? So how do we do that? All right, I think we have a good content model here that we can now jump into Contentful and look at it in actual practice there. So let's jump into Contentful, and of course, by magic, it's all there. Let me make this a little bigger. I think that's probably a little bit better. So you can see here's